you looked through a number of tech IPOs over the last decade.
Yeah.
You found a lot of clunkers. You found some good ones. So when you look at the historical record, what can we learn about perhaps today's trading?
Well, what I focused on in Ahead of the Tape is looking at the expectations that are created by that. I mean, if you look at the kind of go-go era, the 98 to 2000, or the more recent era of social networking IPOs, you know, what you find is that they create a certain expectation and they're geared towards something different than what this Facebook deal is geared towards, and that's what you have to keep in mind. That's a very, very important thing.
What's that difference?
The difference is that these were smaller, lesser-known companies, and they were designed to pop. They didn't offer very much. They were engineered to create a mismatch between supply and demand, a lot of hype, a lot of buzz, and the bigger the pop on the first day. I mean, VA Linux holds the record still almost 700%.
Sure.
But you know, even something like Zynga, you know, you offer relatively little stock. This is different. This is one of the largest U.S. IPOs ever, number 3, I believe.
Right.
It's $18 billion. This is designed to get money from Mark Zuckerberg, Goldman Sachs, Peter Thiel, you know, and the long list of people, and they're cashing in.
So you don't see much variation, perhaps, in the stock price today. So you wouldn't be surprised if it traded within a range, up or down, probably up, say, 10 to 15, 20%.
It's a mug's game. I mean, there's so much stock out there. You know, it's hard to say. I mean, you know, first of all, another thing to keep in mind is that the lockup period for this this deal expires much sooner than it does for most deals. They're usually 180 days.
Now,
this is just a few months.
The lockup is the period by which employees or insiders can sell shares in the public market.
Right. So that creates what's referred to as an overhang, a body of stock that you know is going to be thrown onto the market. So I think, I mean, it's almost impossible to predict what's going to happen today. A lot depends on the external environment, what, you know, the worries about Europe and what have you. It seems like we're breathing it for some reason a bit of a sigh of relief.
This is beyond Europe, though. This is about the whole globe, Spencer.
That's right.
Don't you understand? 17% of the sentient population of the Earth is a Facebook member.
Well, I'll go ahead and make a prediction about the longer term, okay? Today, I think it's almost impossible to say it's not going to go up 600%. I think in 10 years or 12 years, you're going to find very few people who are going to be willing to admit how crazy they were about this deal. Much like perhaps it's hard to find people today who thought AOL Time Warner was a fantastic deal. You know, it's funny what happened to all those people.
I'm glad you're taking a stand. And what's crazy about this, in my mind, is that people who are investing in this offering are abdicating their power to Mark Zuckerberg. Right? It's not as if they have control as shareholders normally would. Zuckerberg has extra control via his special set of shares.
Right. I think, and that's just one of many issues. I mean, and this is a real business. Oh, AOL was a real business too, and it's a real business today. It's just a really small business compared to what it was then. I mean, I think that's the corporate governance is one concern. I wouldn't put that at the very top of my concerns. It's the business model.
Right.
But
agreed. Let's take, for example, Google. Right. $1 of revenue inside Google is far more profitable than $1 of revenue inside Facebook, and yet Facebook, on a multiple level, will be valued far more valuable than Google.
It will.
So how do we explain that?
Well, because the expectation is, and I mean to some extent that's true, that Facebook can do a lot more to convert that. I mean, I give them that. I give Facebook bulls that they can. There's still a lot of levers they can pull to get more out of that, whereas Google has monetized more of those levers already.
Agreed.
But
once those levers are pulled, can it be at a greater level of monetization per dollar than Google? I say no.
I say no too, and I say that if it ever got there, then it would be much more than a $100 billion company.
Right.
But I think that the odds are not very high. And I mean, the point that I made in my column is that the price at which it's being brought out already anticipates a lot of that, unlike a lot of those other IPOs where just trading day one, you didn't get shares, but you want to play it for 30 or 40% on day one. It's a fool's game. It's a real. It's not a smart thing to do.
Okay, well, let's see if you're right. Perhaps we'll come back on Monday and see how your prediction goes.